Welcome to AWS Summit Berlin. Welcome to AIM201 session. Let me set the scene. You are part of a cloud center of excellence or a cloud foundation team within your organization, and you are taking care of tens or even hundreds of projects which are onboarded through your cloud foundation teams. And you have defined the best practices, you have given the security guardrails, how FinOps work in your organization, how even the best practices for setting up the VPC have been given, and yet even everything is documented. You get a lot of emails, you get a lot of chat messages, hey, how can I do this? And this is exactly we are going to talk today in our session together with our colleagues from AUDI, Ben and Dimitri, how we have been able to increase the efficiency of our teams using the generative AI-based chatbot. My name is Farooq Khan. I am the technical senior manager for CSMs within automotive and manufacturing. Thank you. They will come definitely afterwards to go into the details. So I start with a question. Do you have any idea how many web pages do exist on the internet? It's around 30 billion, even more than 30 billion pages. A human mind or human within one life cannot go through all those web pages and can understand and learn about that. Now, with the power of generative AI, it could be scanned, parsed, and summarized in relatively very short time. Short time could be from weeks to a couple of months. And we want to have this possibility because we want to learn about what is all about on internet or even in our organizations. So generative AI actually unlocks the possibility to bring the creativity. It can have the images, videos, text messages, even can automate a lot of processes. And this is all based on the large language models. Large language models which are based on a lot of data, which it gets to get it trained itself and then help us to be more productive. We see three areas where generative AI is unlocking the new business values. Creativity is one. We understand creativity, not only images, videos, it also brings the productivity along with that, because you can automate a lot of manual processes to make it your life easier. Even if you are part of a cloud foundation team, a developer, or even a user of that. And the last is the connectivity. It connects you directly to your end customer or your cross organizations. And this chatbot, which is done by AUDI colleagues, is exploring the two major productivity and connectivity through their chatbot. A bit about the evolution of generative AI. It all started with artificial intelligence. As a developers, we understand that we were using if-else statement long back. And even if we see the Markov chain, which was set up somewhere in 1950s, it was able to predict the sequence based on the given data. It started the footstep of generative AI. Later, machine learning is sort of a subset of artificial intelligence, which which identifies the pattern in a given data and can predict the values out of it. A further subset of that is the deep learning, which further uses the multi-layered neural networks and can create some of the critical tasks like speech or text recognition. And now we're in a time when it is about the generative AI. And generative AI also is not something that just came in the last 2 years. The basic or the major breakthrough came with the transformer architecture back in 2017. And there I would like to give a short intro how it is different or differentiates to the traditional machine learning model. In a traditional machine learning model, you have the label data, you train your model, and it does a very specific task. And the task could be anything as we are using in multiple those such machine learning models. In case of foundational models, you don't need a labeled data. You have unstructured, unlabeled data. You pre-train your models on that, and it does variety of tasks. It could be the text generation again. It could be summarization. It could be the FAQs answers. It could create the images. Again, doing multiple tasks out of one foundation model is the major breakthrough coming out of this technology. It also allows faster time to market. It's easy to interact with this technology as well. It lowers the barrier to interact with this technology. But with all this advancement comes some challenges and risks. One of the major challenges and risks we understand is fidelity and hallucination, and my colleague Ben from AUDI will later explain some of the challenges there as well. So fidelity or hallucination is that it gives us the output which seems correct but is not correct. Therefore, it is important to understand the data which we are using to train those models is really giving us the output which we wanted to have. We all almost know that there is a famous saying, data is the new oil. Actually, in the generative AI context, I would say data is the new milk. If we don't take care of the milk, it goes bad. In the same way, if we don't take care of the data here for the generative AI, the output will go bad as well. So we need to ensure that the data which we are using is really bringing us the required results as well. Other than that, in fidelity, we have also seen that the output comes in a way where there is a data gap, and then the model tries to fill those gaps by generating some of the information, and there it could also have the errors. Now, it all depends on your use case, your business application which you are trying to solve, or the challenge you are trying to solve. And there it is that you bring the data which are really taking care of your business challenges. Another challenge we see is toxicity. An output of a model could be sexist, could be discriminatory, could have an impact on a subpopulation related to ethnicity or religion. And these biases which are there, the model itself don't understand or distinguish those. And as a user, and again, as the user of that application or use case, we need to understand what sort of biases we would like to remove or minimize from here. All we understand the intellectual property and the data privacy, they are the key things as well, that we don't want to bring our data to the larger public if it is limited to only our own organization. This is what exactly AUDI will also talk about, because data is key to their development, and they don't want to bring it to in a way that the market can also understand, because they will lose the competitive edge there. And now with this advancement in the technology and with the challenges, we have to bring some sort of a balance. And we, from AWS side, we see that the concept of responsible AI. It's not all about innovation, we also understand the social impact of that. We see the 6 pillars or dimensions that need to be understood and maintained within our organizations in order to keep the responsible AI. These 6 pillars, some of those take care of the technology part, some take care of the organizational or structure part. Fairness, as in the previous slide, in one of the challenge, we don't want to have our outputs discriminatory or gender biased, but at the same time, it really applies to your use case, because in some of the use cases, you have to bring the gender also. So you need to train in such a way that it can understand, or fine-tune your model in such a way, it can understand the difference where to keep the gender unbiasedness and where it has to bring the biasness as well. Explainability is another thing, that your model can give the output in such a way that it can also explain the rationale behind it. Also, at the same time, we would like to have the model that it gives the correct responses. So the robustness goes hand in hand here. Privacy and security is top number one priority in any case at AWS, and in the context of generative AI, we have to ensure that the data is protected. I'm more talking about from the responsible AI perspective, so the challenge is how it has to be taken care within the responsible AI. Transparency, that the user of our applications or use cases, they do understand the different choices the model were able to give, and they can make the options accordingly, or the selection accordingly. And around that, there should be a governance structure, ensuring the best practices and mechanisms are well defined across your organizations, which take care of that. With this, I would hand over to Dimitri, who will go into the details of how AUDI is doing this chatbot together with responsible AI. Thank you.
Thank you, Farouk. My name is Dimitri, and I will provide you the overview about our foundation. I give you insights about our journey, about our vision, and the challenges we encountered along the way. At the moment, our foundation serves multiple brands with at least 400 accounts and engage more than 4,000 developers across at least 130 projects. Let me check. Exactly. And I think most of you are also involved in some similar project, in smaller or even bigger engagement, when you provide specific services for your customers with your own unique idea or a vision which drives you forward. Our journey began in 2018 with the establishment of our foundation platform, where we have the vision to provide maximum flexibility for our customers without limitation of specific service usage, and all within the framework of shared responsibility model. Why? Because it's important to take a border who is responsible for what, and also communicate this in a transparent way. Otherwise, you will not be increasing transparency and efficiency in your team. Through the next years, we constantly improved our platform by providing additional shared services, new blueprints, and also streamlining processes such as automatic account creation or service provisioning. In year 2022, we embarked the implementation of the FinOps and professional services, which bolstered our platform appeal to our customers and significantly increased the platform acceptance. Today, as our platform reached maturity level, we have shifted our focus towards SecOps because we are strive to enrich the cloud journey for our customers by providing variety of the point of interest, such as cloud professional services, data streaming, cloud connectivity, container runtime, and cloud foundation. There are subsets of another tasks which are bundled within this point of interest, but I will not go in detail about this. Through all this journey, our foundation team and also the project with the developers generated a lot of documentation, blueprints, the architecture decisions, everything what is possible, and guidelines. And of course, as you maybe think, it should be placed in one central location, which is available for all of the participants of the platform. But the reality is more different. All projects have own documentation wiki, where they place their documentation, guidelines, blueprints, and this poses a great challenge for the new developers, new partners, because they are not aware of the documentation which is available for them. So how we can solve this challenge and provide seamless experience for our customers to create central documentation platform where all these documentation guidelines can be easily created and accessed to enrich communication and collaboration in our community. This will show Bernd in detail.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Dimitri. Thank you, Farouk. Let me ask you some question. Who of you having also a lot of teams creating a lot of documentation day by day? You having architectural decisions, you having images, you're providing templates, blueprints, how they can deploy software in your organization, APIs, operation instructions that need to go to your customer or even to the shop floor. You see consistent growth in your wiki pages, if you have one of them. You having interaction with your users, so on daily basis, what Farouk was mentioning with email communication, but also maybe you have a ticket system where your partners or your colleagues can provide issues they are facing during AWS account deployments of their workloads. You're measuring all of these KPIs, and you also will find some processes in your company or guidelines the team needs to be followed. For example, in our case, it's a lot of financial processes we need to keep captured, where the bill needs to be in the end, when the AWS workload is costing month by month. So we need to know all these financial data upfront before we even create an AWS account. And I mean, we're using third-party tools for SecOps, for example, and we're trying to measure all the incidents we are having. And this is also spread in a lot of different areas, and we wanted to have something that is basically centralized and efficient, and so we're asking ourselves, is it even possible to find what I'm searching for in a huge and a broader environment? And we think, yes, it is, and technology helps us. So what were our ambitions to do so? First of all, we have two user personas. On the one side, we have the user persona defined, we call it potential AWS user, so the point of interest user. He has questions like, where do I order an AWS account? What do I need to have it? What I mentioned, what are the financial restrictions here in Audi? But also, once he ordered an AWS account, we wanted to have a streamlined process for him. So very smooth, what are IAM user, what is roles anywhere. Please follow our shared responsibility on top on AWS shared responsibility. And we wanted actually to promote our foundation, our foundational services, and we want to give him the advantages of using a platform. So on the other side, once a user has already an account, we identified the second user persona group, which is the cloud adopters. What questions does cloud adopters have? Well, what is the security score of my AWS account? Is my workload secure? How can I improve cost? Is the EC2 instance right-sized, or is there a better option? Who is taking care about cost optimization at Audi? And we wanted to be an AI companion as well for the user, how they can maybe upload architecture, translate them to CloudFormation, and maybe calculate the cost upfront, even they're deploying. And both use cases needs to be centralized and efficient for them. And the last pillar I have, gain knowledge. So we are providing AWS accounts for the broad organization. So we are also kind of responsible that our users are deploying secure AI. And if you don't know what your product teams are actually dealing with, it's quite hard to reason. So we wanted to gain also knowledge in LLM and these new technologies that came across to get some feeling what their daily business is and what they're treating with. So these are the pillars which were our ambition to solve this question. So now let's have a look on the initial architecture where we started. So on the left side, the user logs in through our IDP, which is backed with Amazon Cognito. He will after a successful single sign-on, he will reach the React front end, which is hosted on an S3 bucket together with a CloudFront origin distribution. And he starts doing his conversation. He's typing his prompts. And the prompts are being sent to Amazon API Gateway, which is handling in a serverless way with AWS Lambda. We're using the LangChain layer, which is a good fit for us to convert the prompts into searchable embeddings, vectors. And we have our serverless open search database, where LangChain actually is doing all the initialization for us and pointing the query to the database, and also doing then the retrieval back to the Amazon API Gateway to the React frontend. So on the right side, and there is our data. So what we initially started with, we took on our wiki, we just dumped an export. We did some privacy correction, because obviously if you have human being writing documentation, sometimes there is PII data inside there. So we dumped everything, we moved it as a PDF, we did a bit of cleaning up the data, we removed the names, we replaced it with the team, and we loaded it up to S3 bucket. Of course, it's KMS encrypted, because we want everything to be secure, because this is our crown jewels, what we have in here. The AWS Lambda is taking from the object store all of these PDFs and moves the vectors then to the OpenSearch database. So on top, we have SageMaker. And on SageMaker, we deployed and hosted some of foundational models like Llama or Falcon. And very important, and this is something of the key takeaways, and Farouk also said it, data is not oil, data is milk, and we need to keep the data clean. And again, it's human being writing documentation, so how you keep your data clean? It's like getting feedback what you're doing. So we added a DynamoDB, so a user can ask a question, he will retrieve the answer, and then we just have a thumbs up, thumbs down if the data is good, is it not good, is it what you want? Thumbs down, he can just chat, what do you think we could be better? But still, we're keeping the metrics in the system, and we try to measure not only the feedback, we also try to measure how healthy the system is. Is the retrieval time, I don't know, maybe under 6 seconds? Do we reach some timeouts? So we try to monitor and track the system. Good. Some of you will wonder, why are we using Lambda to convert the data from S3 bucket to OpenSearch if there are managed services in AWS? Well, we started initially also looking into Amazon Kendra, which is search engine with seamlessly integration in the S3 bucket. But because of some region availability, we found out it is a bit hard for us actually to use it. And OpenSearch actually also provides multi-search features, which is, for our use case at the beginning, was a good fit. So we had a good feeling, so we started. But still, we're capturing KPIs, how it's been performing, and what are the costs that we are evolving. Same, we did actually also with the data models. So again, we had Llama and Falcon 7B. So what we did is, we went through the jungle of AI models, and we thought, okay, what could be a benchmark? How could we measure and compare models? So we started on average retrieval time, so performance. We started on what is usual token input sizes, where are the limitations of the models, and what does it cost to have the model up and running in SageMaker, so cost per hour. And all of these, we decided to go with the Llama model, because again, we had a good feeling, it was quite well, but suddenly Mistral AI came into the game. So what we did, and because it's a repeatable process, we just put Mistral again, we could make our benchmark, and then we decided, because of our parameters, let's switch and move to the different model. And this is also something I want to give you with. It's not only about which is the best model and no model rules at all. It's also about good software designing, actually. So our lambda in the middle in this VPC, it looks very critical. So what we do is we just use hexagonal architecture. So we easily can switch the ports, so to say the models. When a new model comes, we decide it's a good one. We're just switching the ports, and hexagonal architecture helps us here, switching the ports. Same goes with the DynamoDB or with the OpenSearch. If we find out maybe with the new release of RDS having vector capabilities, good, then we change it. But also on the adapter level in front, currently, and I will show it in the next slide, our short demo, you will see that the front end, the interface is very, is not so responsive. So you chat, you wait, you chat, you wait. And with this hexagonal architecture, we just can switch maybe to something that is more UX friendly. So having really a conversation, putting word by word. And then we just use WebSocket. Or we decide maybe tomorrow we need a different tool where we can chat. We just add it to the adapter on the Lambda level. But still, the Lambda contains the business logic, which is converting the conversation into prompts and search it in the database. Good. Here's the short demo. And I mean, it's a really rough first initial version. So the UI is not pretty, but it already starts, and we keep trying to improve. So you will see some questions we are asking. What is a spoke VPC? So a spoke VPC in our context is we're providing for our customers from foundational level a VPC that has connection to the hub, to on-premises system. And user can order it. On the right side, you will see also the documentation that's been generating this information. Second question is about what are blueprints, so templates I can help to deploy. Can you generate a bit of code for me? And the last question is about federated identity access. How can I connect my CI/CD and OpenID connectors? And all these questions, again, it's quite helpful. But also, you might notice there are no references. And we are talking about responsible AI. And actually, this is describing the problem, the first problem what we were facing. Having document-specific answers and keeping the intellectual property still safe, and then for the user, making it rely on it. So that what he see is also that what it really is at Audi. And keep it transparent. So you have 1, 2, 3 links. You can read it if yourself. So we don't want to replace all these systems, the Confluence we have. We just want to make it efficient and centralized. And the DevBot should be just an extension for the user to chat with his data. So again, it needs to be robust, and have some good latency, low, best of all. And then in the end, hallucination resistant. And I can tell you, hallucination is a real thing. And you can deal with it. One example, what we were trying was, on the hallucination level, where can I get an AWS account? And the chatbot was reasoning, yeah, just provide your credit card and go to the AWS console. But is it still the right thing? No, it isn't. And this is really a problem, but with guardrails, you can deal with it. You have content filter, you have deny topics, you can build up some weights in your data. And this is really great. Model diversity. Again, there are a lot of models out there. So which one is the best? So go into a repeatable process, measure your system, measure KPIs, decide on which KPIs are important for you, and then compare the models. But keep your architecture hexagonal so you can easily switch and replace it. And in the end, Everything needs to be secure, compliant, and data privacy needs to be there. Also here, guardrails could help because you can have PII data being secured. Okay, let's sum up what we learned. Establish a repeatable process you can go over and over again. Our architecture currently is a knowledge-based for our first user persona, a person who don't have an AWS account. So try again at the beginning. Who is your next persona group? The cloud adopter. Finding the balance then between being innovative, using new tools, new models, but also if new risks occur, try to assess them, keep to measure them, and see if they've gone away or other one will occur. But being continuing on it. And most important is testing, testing, testing. And so you can really drive these improvements and start simple and then involve your system. So for this example, let's do this process. Amazon Bedrock. It's available in Frankfurt now. You have guardrails, agents, and all the cool new features. So let's see. Again, this is our initial version. So how could we now improve it if we think of cloud adopters now? Okay, cloud adopters have already accounts. But what is with the data which is in their account? Let's add it. Let's replace also SageMaker with Bedrock. Because it's a managed service, you have model variety, you have the guardrails, you're having web crawlers, you're having different agents. You just add more data for more use cases. We have added a memory DB for the document store. If a user is providing maybe an image, he wants to get this image be analyzed. For example, I have an architecture, but how much does this architecture cost? Or can you convert my architecture into something I understand, CloudFormation template? We're having brands in Mexico, in Hungary, so actually they want to use their daily language. We need multi-language in there. And this is, again, trying to repeat and repeat, but still keep your measuring your system, that you see how it's been performing, and try to solve different use cases. So why are we decided to go now the road with Bedrock? Yeah, it's a managed service. So we have seamless integration into S3 buckets. We have CloudTrails. We can check on them. It's serverless. Before we had SageMaker. So we deployed and hosted our models there. Now we don't care about infrastructure. Again, guardrails are amazing. Content filter, deny topics, word filters, and also PII data. And this will help you definitely to deal with hallucination. Agents. Do you know how many pages the well-architected framework of AWS contains, the PDF? 900 pages. So let's do a web crawler. Let's crawl the website of AWS, blog posts, solution libraries, and just contain public available data together with your internal data. You need to weight it, but still, with Bedrock, you can easily integrate it. The model diversity is insane. You have every month, I think, new models are coming in. But start simple, try to use them, try to compare them, and Bedrock is a central place for dealing with these new models. And, I mean, it's a managed service, so security and privacy comes by design. And, yeah, that's pretty it. So I want just to embrace you. Repeat yourself, do your process, know you working backwards from your needs. And I want to thank you for being attending this talk today. And I'm very happy that Farouk and his team was helping us together building this chatbot. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dimitri, and thank you, Bent. Some of the key takeaways from this is, one is the responsible AI. The other thing is the iterative process. The advancement or enhancement in your functionality related to Gen AI, it's all about how iterative you keep it, how iterative you keep the architecture, that it allows you to be flexible in that sense. We have also worked on some of the blogs together with AUDI, and if anyone has the interest to learn more about and going into the depth, go ahead with these blogs and learn about it. And also I would say a call to action for most of the colleagues here, that engage with your solution architect or customer solution manager or TAM to learn about how we can repeat the same footprint in your organizations. Thank you very much.